Tucker Carlson is now urging his audience to go around harassing people who wear masks while outdoors. Watch.
If you dare to go on foot from Union Station to the Capitol, for example, in Washington without wearing a mask, angry Biden voters will snort at you in judgment. How could you, they're saying from behind the gauze. How could you? That's the question we should be asking of them in return. The rest of us should be snorting at them first. They're the aggressors. It's our job to brush them back and restore the society we were born in. So the next time you see someone in a mask on the sidewalk or on the bike path, do not hesitate. Ask politely but firmly, would you please take off your mask? Science shows there is no reason for you to be wearing it. Your mask is making me uncomfortable. We should do that, and we should keep doing it until wearing a mask outside is roughly as socially accepted as lighting a Marlboro in an elevator.
Lighting a Marlboro on an elevator, first of all, in many cases is illegal, and also is different from someone simply wearing a mask and minding their own business. Inhaling secondhand smoke could actually cause harm to the person who's inhaling the secondhand smoke, whereas being in the same room or being near someone outdoors who's deciding to wear a mask doesn't harm anyone at all. It might somehow harm the feelings of conservatives who have bought into what corporate culture war merchants are trying to sell you. But overall, this is just leave people alone. Just leave people alone, leave people alone, leave people alone. The CDC just today announced that for people who have been fully vaccinated, you do not need to wear a mask while you're outdoors. The only time you should is if you happen to be in some sort of crowd while outdoors. But if someone wants to be extra cautious and wear a mask while they're out, just leave them alone. Just leave them alone. Why do you need to go out and harass them? And what's also hilarious is that Tucker Carlson has whined and cried about people approaching him while he's out in public. He doesn't appreciate being harassed. And I know from personal experience that once he's in a room full of people who might disagree with him, he goes from being this tough guy to being a total dove, right? He doesn't want to be disagreeable. He doesn't want to have to actually debate someone in real time. But when he's sitting there in his comfy little studio, that's when he gets to act like a tough guy and talk about how it's totally okay to approach people who are minding their own business because they happen to be wearing a mask that makes them uncomfortable. There's all sorts of things that people do out there that make me uncomfortable. I'm not gonna go out there and harass them as a result.
Yeah, it's funny that he would mention the cigarettes on the elevator because if people could remember or do their knowledge on this, the tobacco industry's big tobacco had known about the cancerous risks, the terrible health risks of cigarettes for decades. And even though they knew the actual effects, they went out, they took out ads, they did commercials about how cigarettes are actually healthy. Or when they couldn't do that anymore because the government had to step in and be like, guys, you're lying, they started calling their cigarettes light, et cetera, et cetera. And I think Tucker Carlson would have been somebody who encouraged people to keep smoking. It's not a big deal. The people who profit off of this, who make billions of dollars off of this, are telling us that it's fine. So of course it is, right? Like, follow the dumbest instincts possible is what Tucker Carlson wants to tell people to do. And all it is, you know, in a way, it's kind of sinister in how smart it is. Nobody wants to be made uncomfortable. People want to go back to living what they felt like were normal lives. And he's just, you know, speaking to that. People don't want to wear masks. People want to feel like the virus no longer exists. They want to go back to how things were prior to the pandemic. And he's just speaking to that in the most dangerous and cynical way possible. But what else can you expect from the most popular person at Fox News right now? That's what they do. That's what they've been doing for decades, unfortunately.
This is what they do because they don't want to have a conversation about things that actually substantively impact people's lives. Like, I don't know, healthcare, fair wages, agency over their own lives, so they're not constantly working and have no time for themselves. You know, childcare, education. These are issues that really matter and have, again, a substantive impact on people's lives. He's not talking about that. Instead, he has a very clear interest in creating chaos and unnecessary conflict among Americans who, to be quite honest with you, they took a moment to just stop and think about their lives and what they want to make their lives better, These people shouldn't be in any type of conflict at all. These people actually agree on the vast majority of things that need to be passed in this country legislatively, including fixes to our healthcare, including fixes to education, including fixes to childcare. But they don't want to talk about those things that actually unite Americans. Tucker Carlson would rather create chaos and conflict over the latest culture war symbol for Republicans, which happens to be a mask. And if you thought that it couldn't get worse than that, get a load of this.
As for forcing children to wear masks outside, that should be illegal. Your response when you see children wearing masks as they play should be no different from your response to seeing someone beat a kid in Walmart. Call the police immediately. Contact Child Protective Services. Keep calling until someone arrives. What you're looking at is abuse. It's child abuse, and you are morally obligated to attempt to prevent it. If it's your own children being abused, then act accordingly. Let's say your kid's school emailed you to announce that every day after lunch, your 6th grader was going to get punched in the face by a teacher. How would you respond to that? That's precisely how you should respond when they tell you that your kids have to wear masks on the soccer field. That is unacceptable, it is dangerous, and we should act like it, because it is.
I mean, how can anyone take this clown seriously?
That's what I was saying. Anna, at a certain point, I can't be outraged by this because honestly, and I know we're not supposed to do this, if you actually take anything that was just said by that guy seriously, like actually think your kid getting punched in the face by his teacher is the same as your kid wearing a mask while playing soccer is the same, you're an idiot. And you deserve everything that's coming to you. I'm sorry, I can't hold back, Anna. This is ridiculous. You have to be so deluded and so brainwashed in this right-wing fever dream about everybody coming to get you and yours to actually believe that wearing a mask is the same as child abuse in its many, many forms, which is actually a serious issue in this country. You should be ashamed of yourself. You should be shunned from proper society. Your family should disinvite you from Thanksgiving. Get them out of here, Anna.
Yeah.
I'm done with them.
You know, but the unfortunate thing is Tucker Carlson does have a large audience, and we live in a country that's swimming with guns. Like there are guns everywhere. So what he is proposing people do is go around harassing others for doing what makes them feel comfortable when they're outdoors. Right now, the only people, according to the CDC, who are totally safe, not wearing a mask outdoors are people who have been fully vaccinated. We don't have the majority of Americans fully vaccinated right now. So there are gonna be plenty of Americans who wanna wear masks when they're outdoors, when they're around other people outdoors. And it is not only recommended that they do that, but in many cases, even if it's not recommended, even if they're fully vaccinated, they want to be super safe, fine. Like my point is just leave people alone. Like there's no need to go around. And by the way, that also applies to people who go around demanding that everyone wear a mask at all times outdoors. Leave people alone. If you're worried about someone who's not wearing a mask, then cross the street, walk on the other side. I do that all the time. And like, you see how it all plays out in the real world, right? When you're not, unfortunately, confronted by lunatics. People are considerate, people will cross the street, people will walk, a little further away so you're not too close to them. If they're not wearing a mask. Look, despite all of the cancerous rhetoric coming from people like Tucker Carlson, overall, people are good. Overall, people are kind. They're considerate, and we got to keep that in mind and not allow the Tucker Carlsons of the world to continue to divide us, to continue to lead to all of this chaos and hatred, outside of our homes. We need to stick together and fight for one another. Tucker Carlson doesn't want that. People like Tucker Carlson don't want that. So just don't fall into this toxic, pattern that I'm seeing online with people on Fox News and other corporate media outlets. It's so unnecessary. Just be kind to each other, be compassionate to one another, and respect other people's decisions. If they want to wear a mask while they're outdoors, respect that. Why would it make you uncomfortable? It just makes no sense.
And I have to tell you a confession, and it's that normally when I am outdoors, I don't have my mask on. And like you said, when I see people coming who do have masks on, I like to go cross the street or walk in the street. And honestly, the main reason why I like doing this is because I'm taking the power back. So many white people have crossed the street when they've seen me coming. It's so nice to finally do it to them back and just take back the power. There's just something so powerful about it. Like, no, I'm crossing the street this time. So that happens on an everyday basis here in the Valley, Anna. Just had to tell you that one.
Yeah, I intentionally, the only time I'm outdoors is when I go for a run at this point. And I intentionally go on a path where I run into the least amount of people. And then once I do, like I have a mask on, but I have it down because I'm running. It is uncomfortable to run with a mask on. And then I'll just lift it up if I'm about to cross someone or pass someone, because just be considerate, be kind, that's all it is. And guess what? You know what the amazing thing is about being kind and considerate to others? You start to feel good overall, right? You start feeling that sense of humanity. It's a great feeling. So ignore the cancerous rhetoric from people like Tucker Carlson. Focus on the goodness in humanity and move forward, because we need to make this country and this world a better place, and we're not gonna do it by listening to lunatics who have every incentive to continue dividing us.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.